Hey, howdy gamers. How we doing today, Oh man, it has obviously been a while since I've been on the content grind, and it is something that I'm looking to get back into the swing of things with the content. And the way that we're going to be starting that is just back to the basics. We're going to be going back on Peni Parker. We're going to be getting very used to playing our main again. And in particular, I am on the grind for that level 70 Peni champion. I want that banner. I want that nameplate. I want the title. And I want to make sure that people know that I know what I'm doing. So this series is just going to be a little bit of a live commentary, and I'm going to be talking about the things that I'm learning and talking through my processes to hopefully help any of you Peni mains in the making. And we're in and on. I'm immediately hearing a Hulk. That's really not good. And they have a Star-Lord, also not great. So I'm going to play height and around here. Playing height to get behind and set up my nest, and Hulk's immediately baited by it. So that is something really important to remember for the rest of the game. As Hulk's diving in here, he has spotted my nest. He is aware of where it is. Ange is in. Ange is dead. And Hulk's in. Hulk is bannered. We're going to stun him in place. Missed that, but it's because he was dead. And there's Daredevil. Now I'm going to set up a mine trap here. The reason that I'm going to do it here is because around corners in corridors, and especially around corners that people are going to be starting to shoot at other enemies and have their attention distracted, that is when and where I want to be placing my traps. That sort of philosophy, like areas where you are going to be the priority target over your traps, over your nest, is a key philosophy to just be keeping in mind for anything Peni related. Peni is a character who deals in attention. If attention is on you, where's it missing? And if attention's not on you, how can you be getting some more? Now we'll be trying to get a couple of cheeky picks here. Here comes the Ange. Poke, not enough. Stun does hit. Did not look like it. That's for sure. I'm just going to reposition my nest. It is a touch too far forward. Do miss the stun. Here comes the Ange again. I do once more have my wall climb. I don't know why she keeps going for it. I'm clearly not going to be dying here. You're mine. I'm just going to ult in. Tenacity pops. Very, very good. Daredevil is back here, so I want to try and keep him in here as much as possible, and he does die very, very quickly. Lots of drones and lots of mines are going to do that to an MFer. Ange still going for the knockoffs. It's just not going to be enough. And once again, I'm going to be trying to set up my stun and my trap in there. It gets Daredevil low enough just to get that KO there. Ange once again looking for something. Does die there. Will be going for a pull, but I am still caught by the Ange ult to my knowledge. Will be pops res, and that's going to be the first round. So what went well in that one? I think that I was very, very proactive about game sense, knowing where and when dives and pokes were going to be coming from, in particular from the Ange trying to get the terrain KOs. I think my nest positioning was just kind of average. It wasn't ever outright in a bad spot, but even initially we saw that against the Hulk. Like, it was very clearly getting spotted early. So in this round, big focus for me is going to be on placing my nest in a more proactive and advantageous position. So, as we're loading in on this second round on the Eldritch Monument, the big focus for me is going to be on placing my nest in proactive parts of the map. Where immediately on this map can I think of? I think of down here first and foremost, and I'm going to set up a mine trap on this side of the wall. I hope that doesn't get destroyed. That does get destroyed. I should have checked that first. Always use B to check where it's going to be destroyed. So I'm going to reset that up there. As once again, I'm caught a little bit out of position. And that's going to be our first death of the game. That's unfortunate. I was out of position. I was struggling because my nest also still wasn't in a good position, and I committed too many resources to a trap that I had not verified or was not sure of. Behind this wall is a very good Peni nest, but while the stairs are up, in this corner is really valuable. Now I'm just going to divert my attention and come into this side note, as my trap from the first life there does manage to get both of their supports. Now the Invis did get rocket res, but we can get her there as she's double jumped a touch too early. Oh, the Dino is still playing very, very aggressively. I'm going to double stun in there. And Invis is around here somewhere. But clearly not enough to be a concern. And I don't want to be burning my support's resources, as we do manage to catch that Invis off guard. The name still appeared, which makes me aware of the fact that she's potentially going to get rocket res, but it does get stopped. As the map moves, I might actually move up and place it quite aggressively up top. Now, they do have a lot of people playing this flank, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trap down low, and I'm going to try and extend my webs up and over high. And they've just gone for the big push in, 2 sup ults, as well as the Bucky ult. Now, my nest does go down, but I do have a ton of drones down already and a ton of webs. So what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about taking a flank route here. I'm not a main tank. I'm not going to be able to push down that main flank route with main choke point without taking heavy fire. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take the flank route. And as it turns out, that is a good decision, as the Star-Lord's rocket team up ended up being on that flank route. Now, he is potentially going to be getting rocket res, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back down in low, and he does, as we check the top right there. I'm going to chuck a trap on that wall there. I'm going to start pressing up just a touch. Star-Lord is over here. Now, we do know this guy's playstyle. He does like using the flips very, very aggressively, so I'm going to stun and just catch him enough to be able to secure the pick. Just going to clear this part. Remember, stairs are a very, very good place to be placing your mines. Slanted areas always provide a ton of value. Where's that Bucky? Up top. Well, the shots stun him out of his hook. That is big, and he's going to run onto my mines. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. I was so sure of it. Oh, I was too sure of it. As here comes the Star-Lord ult. He does eventually run into it. Now, I am in and behind this Star-Lord. Quite low. Doesn't have his path back up, as he wasn't aware that the map moved. So it's always good to keep in your mind when, where, and how a map is going to be moving. That is going to be the game. Unfortunately, we do not get the MVP. That does go to our Luna, who did a fantastic job this game. GG's to my teammates and to my opponents. As this queue rolls, let's think about what we learned in that first game. First of all, in our second game, our nest placements were a lot more active, but they were also in a lot more danger. I wasn't really reacting well to how much pressure the enemy team was placing on my nests. What went well, though, was my mine traps, and, at least in the first round, my survivability. I was able to engage with the enemy team with a very strong sense of when, where, and how they were trying to get around, and my mine traps managed to pick up a ton of easy picks. Now we are here on defense on Midtown. Very, very fun map indeed, especially for Peni, as I'm going to load him with the cutscene skip. An updated version of the rollout guide coming soon. I'm going to place it on that and reline the stairs there. The second place I like to trap is the backside of this wall. I am a big fan of placing my nest in this corner because it's very easy to extend and very hard to actually see on your way through, and it gives us a bit of coverage on the point. And I'm going to extend the webs twice more and place down a 4 mine trap here. 4 there, 3 there, 4 here, and a setup webs. This is what we like to see. Immediately, I'm hearing a Moon Knight on. Alright, this is going to be a very tough game for us. Strange does hit the second trap, and it takes a big brunt of damage. Now, because the web is yet to be reset, in fact, I haven't even shot a web since I set the mine traps down, I do still have plenty of opportunities to get a good potential stun in before I reset this web. Now, I'm going to reset it early and preemptively, with the reason being that now I can comfortably reset a stun anywhere I would like. Now I do get a hit there, so I've still got one more to work with. That Strange does take a bit of damage there. Now he might have a bit of a false sense of confidence here. He did take a brunt of the mines early, as I think he's playing height to try and get my nest here. As he's going to back off just a touch, I'm going to play it aggressively again and keep the connections very, very strong. I'm foregoing that trap setup to make sure that I have a strong setup down this entire choke point. My nest is outside of the coverage there, but our gambit does fall. there is nothing stopping me from coming up here to start setting traps. I am going to ultimately have to reset my nest placement. Strange is pushing in quite aggressively. Do manage to get a big stun in, and he falls there to me and Phoenix together. Now set up here on height, and one of the things that I really love to do is to set up a trap preemptively up on height. When playing on height, often players will try and engage you on that height. You can catch them off guard by already being prepared for them to dive you. Now, in particular, this Elsa is a very big candidate to be jumping up and eating an entire mine stack along with this strange perchance, especially if I make myself very known and start being a real issue here. I'm gonna need to ult in here, unfortunately. So I'm gonna ult in from behind. I do hit an Elsa trap, which is obviously less than ideal. Start juggling the Jeff. Just making his life very difficult. Hit another Elsa trap, my goodness. And it's basically just me on the point to my knowledge. Do manage to get the stun, and we get a portal in. Gonna manage to get through, and I'm gonna set up behind. I'm gonna start placing mine traps on the side of the altar. Right, and that is a very intentional choice, as that Moon Knight did have the unstoppable from that White Fox. Big target to stun potentially, but they are focusing down my nest very well. So let's think about what I was talking about last game. Last game I was talking about my nest placement being far too easy to damage, and my game sense being quite well. Well, in this game, my game sense is not quite as attuned. They're playing a very strange style of game. I don't think they have time to portal, and they don't manage to get a portal off. We do finish with the most assists in the game. Only 2 final hits is not great. 9,000 damage blocked for a tank, also not great. Really played quite passively, didn't leave our imprint on the game. I think the biggest impact that we had was in the stun on that strange ult right at the end there. But given that that was a quick one, I think we're going to try and squeeze in just one more game before we wrap it up today. Ooh, very fun home court advantage to lend us off. Spider Islands, defense, Penny Parker, and you know what? Let's rock out with my new favorite skin for Penny in the game. The Badlands Lullaby with the Toxic Tint recolor. Now we are going to get this rollout going very quick, very early. Bang, up, over. Bit slow, but that is alright. Ultimately, as we can get down there, much more consistently than we used to. On this map, these lily pads really effectively cover your mines. Like really effectively. Now, I am still going to web them just because the early game tends to be a chaotic mesh of bullets, and it does also sound like they have a Jeffrey, which means that his bullet stream is going to be absolutely destroying any hopes and dreams that we have. We do immediately prove him wrong, as he does eat that, as we also get the other enemy support with our second mine trap, as my nest does go down. Not something I was paying a ton of attention to, admittedly. Left side, hella though. If she wants to play that left side, that's fine. I'm gonna start trapping there too. Gonna call out to Devil Dinosaur. Oh yeah, Devil Dinosaur on my ping, that's the trap. And unfortunately, Devil Dino does go down there. Now, this is into quite an unfavorable matchup. Moon Knight, Star-Lord, triple sup. The only thing that could be worse would be a Squirrel Girl and maybe a Phoenix. But Moon Knight into double no shield tank and Namor and White Fox in the ultimate. It's going to be a tough match. Now, that being said, we do still have a number of options for playing this aggressively and playing it well as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to destroy that wall, place my nest up here, and chuck a trap down on this corner, as I do bait the mag into spending a decent amount of time on the side there, shooting at my nest instead of playing the game. I'm going to have to chuck a mine trap kind of raw dogged down on there, and ultimately, no sups alive. I'm going to have to fall back and regroup. Oh, but our White Fox does Kumiho in. I'm going to ult in to see if we can't get a bit of pressure. Moon Knight with another ult. He's going to be farming those this game. I am in a very bad position. Moon Knight is in a worse one though, as we do manage to get the pick on him. 2 minutes left for this first point, as Mag does fall to presumably one of our mines left over from that ultimate. I'm going to be able to hop over and up the top, which gives me a ton of freedom to start setting up where and how I like. Now, Jeffrey is playing quite far back, and Moon Knight is playing up the top as well. But I've got both of their DPS's focus heavy in on me. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. Both of their DPS very, very aware of me. In previous games so far today, I've been talking about how I've really struggled to place my nest in really valuable positions. They've been sniffing it out and getting either very little value or very easily destroyed. So with 2 DPS that are very good at dealing with my playstyle, very focused on destroying my nest, and with limited capacity to effectively set up traps because of the Jeff, this game is going to turn into a big back and forth on setting up effective traps and nests and playing a meta game against this DPS duo. And yeah, look, this might sound a bit extreme, over the top. This is unironically the type of stuff that I do think about when I'm playing this hero, as well as how I figure out how I'm going to improve. Because that's ultimately my goal. Whether or not we win, as I do get a pick in on that Moon Knight with a good trap, ultimately, my goal is to improve and just to get better. That's it. There is a certain level of improvement that I would like to see, but just generally, my enjoyment of games comes from the capacity to see and build improvement over time. I think I stunned him out of it. I did. That's big. I'm going to play it up top on height now. My nest was not in a very good spot. I placed it in a spot where it was very easily focusable by anyone taking that right flank. Luckily, no one did, but we don't want to be building a game plan around luck. Now, while we were low there, we did manage to get a new mine trap set up. The mine's there. Now, my nest wasn't really in the best spot there. Like, yes, it was safe, but it also wasn't getting value. If I place this here, how shot at is it going to be? Not very, I don't think. I don't think many shots can actually reasonably hit that. So I really like that as a good nest spot there. Always living, learning, and improving. That is the goal, at least. My nest does go down. That's actually really critically important. So I am now the nest. As the Iron Man clearly not particularly impressed with me. Luckily, my nest is back on hand by the time that the ultimate ends. And what did I say? Eventually, someone was going to walk over that one. And we do manage to get a critical pick there. So I'm just going to start playing quite aggressively here. In particular, I want to make sure that we maintain LOS on their spawn doors so that we can stop any potential portal shenanigans that might be happening very soon. Now, I am very aggressively playing up here, and Iron Man does have a means of attacking and getting at our nest, but I think that's going to be it. Outstanding work from our team there, being Luna Snow the MVP. I mean, yeah, absolutely an outstanding job. A big statistical indicator that I would like to point to is that 9 final hits, leading the game in final hits. Very good indeed. Ultimately, what can we learn from today, and what are some skills to improve on for the future? The big one for me at this point in time is my nest placements have definitely gotten quite sloppy. I'm placing them in areas where they're easy to see and easy to destroy, as well as not providing a ton of value for not only myself, but also the team. What went well? I think that the mine traps that I was placing down are exceptional. I think at this point in time, my mine traps are catching people off guard, they're catching them on off angles, they're catching them down the main choke, and I think that was really good. Highlight has to be taking the flank route on the Eldritch Monument and managing to see the Star-Lord gadget. It really just goes to show how much value you can provide by just thinking a little bit outside the box and having the opportunity to take a flank route as opposed to the main one, as you are not a main tank. That being said, I don't know if there's going to be another one of these. It's just going to be a means of tracking my progress in improving on Peni. I'm really just documenting and bookmarking all of those sorts of things. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye!